One of the things that I've noticed throughout the session is that anytime that Stanton gets over to near his owner, his guardian, as I like to refer to him, starts petting him. Now this time we actually invited Stanton over. Now what I like to do is something I call passive training, which I'll cover in another segment. We may or may not record it. But every time he comes to you, even if you didn't call him, pet him and say the word come. Even though you didn't ask him to, the end result is still the same, and if we mark it with a command word, it'll be easier for him to come in the future. But one of the things I noticed is that every time, there we go, and so right there I would pet him and say sit. I didn't ask him to sit, but he's sitting anyways. Mm-hmm. The more you do this, the better at it they will get. Even though it's something he already knows, there's never any harm in practice and brushing up. So basically, does he ever come and stick his nose under your arm when he wants you to pet him? Nudge you, like burrowing with his nose?
A few times.
Okay.
Rarely, yeah.
So now I've noticed that you pet him quite a bit, which is a great thing. We want to love and interact with our dogs, especially a Mae-Day dog, right, buddy? Yes. But if the dog is able to tell us what to do by nudging us to say, hey, pet me or pay attention, and the human consistently does, after a while that gives the dog the impression, I have dominion over the human. I can tell, whenever I tell them what to do, they do it. So clearly I'm the boss of them. And that can lead into either, for some dogs, a protective instinct. Sometimes it'll make them territorial. Sometimes it makes them insecure. If another dog comes around, they're a little bit worried. So what I like to do is to help the dog see and identify as being in the follower position is next time the dog comes and nudges you, instead of petting him, give him a counter order. I consider petting a dog our way of paying or compensating the dog. So I call this petting with a purpose. So if he comes over and nudges you to pet me, and you pet him, then you're telling him, yeah, you're the boss of me. So if he comes over and nudges you, and instead of petting him, you tell him to sit, and as soon as he sits, you reach over and say, sit. Then after a while, I can ask the human what to do, and sometimes they will hook me up. Now, when I pet a dog, I can pet a dog anywhere, but dogs generally do not like being patted on top of the head. A lot of times this creates a downward nose orientation, and insecure dogs have a downward nose orientation. A proud, confident dog has his nose up in the air like this. So if I just get in a habit of just petting him under his chin, I can help him facilitate a more confident body posture. Now, he doesn't strike me as an insecure dog from what I've seen. I haven't seen him on walks or around other dogs, but you telling me that he turtles up or gives you his belly when he feels that you're getting frustrated is a little bit, but that's a healthy amount. Not healthy amount, but it's okay. So what I would do is, again, give him a counter order, and then reach under or pet him under his chin and say the word sit. You can ask him to come to you, to sit, or to lie down. Now, generally, if he's nudging you, he's already there. But sitting and laying down are more subordinate body postures. Crash. What's his word for this?
Haven't gotten there.
Okay, so this is what I call passive training. I talked about this a little bit, either off camera or another video, I can't remember. But if every time that he comes to you, I think it was this video actually, if every time he comes to you, you pet him and say the word come, after a while that helps with your general come when you call him at a time where he's not inclined to do so. So anything that your dog does on its own, you should always pet and say the command word. And don't say, good boy Stanton, lay down. Say just the command word, down, or crash, or chill, or whatever your word is. If you have multiple dogs, you can use their name, but you just have one. So after a while, if you're just watching TV, comes and lays on the floor and at your feet, reach over and pet him and say crash. Comes over to you, come and say here. Or he sits, pet him and say sit. Now, what will happen is the more that you do, give him a counter order to sit or lie down, you're basically telling him these are the activities or the things that I want that will get my attention. And dogs are kind of like the cheesy guy that hits on girls at the bar with the ridiculous lines. They use what works. And so if every time he comes over to you and sits down, you pet him, well, if I just go and sit in front of him, that's my way of asking a human to sit. We call this when a dog becomes operant, when it understands I can influence humans by my own behavior. By doing something that they want, they're going to give me a reward. If I do something they don't want, then they're going to correct me or disagree with me or whatever it is. So after a while, instead of coming up and nudging you, he's just going to come sit in front of you and say, I'm sitting, shouldn't you be petting me? And we should as much as we can. Now, it will take you a little bit of time to refrain from petting him for no reason. But what I would suggest is at least for a couple weeks, just to get him in and asking him to do that. Now, if you can get in a habit of doing this, and you make him sit before you pet him every time, or lay down or come or whatever it is, every time you pet him, it becomes a mini dog training session that you do without spending any time or effort doing it. It is truly a gift, and it will help you have a better relationship with your dog, help your dog respect you as an authority figure, while simultaneously helping him practice engaging in the activities that you want him to do when it's a more challenging situation. That's petting with a purpose.